NDPP, thank you very much for your time, especially considering the high-profile announcement that you made yesterday. So, firstly, you're a long-time prosecutor. When it was announced that you were going to be the new National Director of Public Prosecutions, if you look at those who have gone before, Bulelani Ngcuka resigned, Vusi Pikoli was suspended, Menzi Simelani's appointment was struck down by the Constitutional Court, and Mxolisi and Klasana also took a golden handshake. Why would you want to take this job?
Mandy, thank you so much for asking that question. I've been a career prosecutor. The NPA and administering justice to the people of this country has been my life. I've always been passionate about delivering service to our community. I was a passionate prosecutor. I know I sometimes come across as being aggressive when I engage with people and the media, but it's all my passion, the passion I have for prosecution. I felt I could make an immense difference as the head of this institution. In the last year, since my appointment, and if you look at the statistics, I think we've done a really, really good job, but we can still do so much better as an institution. I felt that I had the credentials, and I still feel I have the credentials and ability to make a massive difference and change the face of justice for the betterment of all South Africans going forward. I still remain passionate. I still remain extremely optimistic that we can make a massive difference, and that's why I took this job. I was very mindful of the history of the institution and what happened to all my predecessors and the circumstances under which they left the institution. I'm confident that my position is different.
Look, you inherited a poison chalice, there's no doubt about that. When you came in, there were clear factions within the NPA. There was a view that there was the Jiba Mkhwebi faction and then the Glenis Breitenbach faction because of the history there. And you were seen perhaps as a Jiba man, that you were allied to her. Was that a fair assessment?
I think it's a completely incorrect assessment to make. I've always been my own person. I'm my own individual. I make my own decisions. I've never aligned myself to persons. Advocate Jiba, I met her for the first time when she was appointed as a Deputy National Director. And I didn't have much engagement with her at all. I probably had spoken to her about 5 minutes in its entirety. Prior to my appointment as the acting head of the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, when I was appointed as an acting special director. And because of the mandate of that unit, and she was the head of NPS at the time, we had to engage, on issues relating to, to the functioning of the unit, which she had oversight of, and of course we built a rapport, because of that. To say that I'm in a camp or anybody's man, I think it's mischievous.
When Lawrence Mkhwebi and Nomgcobo Jiba were struck from the role, the NPA issued a statement. And in that statement, you thanked them for upholding the integrity of the institution as well as theirs. How do you feel that they upheld the integrity of the institution when there were such critical court judgments about Nomgcobo Jiba's conduct in particular?
Both of them, immediately after the court judgment, I was out of the country. I was out in Ireland, and I just arrived back from Ireland that very morning, and en route to the office from the airport, there was this breaking news. And during the course of the day, both Advocate Jiba and Advocate Mkhwebi contacted me individually, and they asked to engage with me, to meet with me, and they met with me separately, and they both asked me, they said to me they'd like to put the institution first. The institution means a lot to them, and can I please place them on special leave? And I felt instead of them wanting them being indifferent about the situation, they were proactive. They approached me, and I think they did put the integrity of the institution first, and that showed integrity by putting the integrity of the institution first instead of their own, by asking to be placed on special leave, which I acceded to. They subsequently wrote to me, and in their letters they re-indicated the integrity of the institution and putting the integrity of the institution first, and I thought that was a good thing. I engaged with the Minister of Justice, and I informed him accordingly, and he was in agreement that we placed him on special leave.
Do you think that perhaps they should have got on special leave sooner in light of the judgments? Because surely the Murphy judgment, there were some very serious findings about the conduct of GP, that she lied, essentially. Do you think she affected the credibility of the NPA?
I think the matter is now in the hands of the President. The President has invited Advocate Jiba and Advocate Mkhwebi to provide reasons as to why he shouldn't suspend them and why he shouldn't conduct an inquiry into their fitness to hold office. I think we should allow the process to unfold. You never know, what will happen, and I think we must let's not speculate. Let's allow the process to unfold.
Right. Obviously, on the contentious issue of the prosecution of Pravin Gordhan and Oupa Makashula and Ivan Pillay, did you at any time meet with the Hawks investigating team, and did you have sight of the docket before you made the announcement to charge?
At no stage did I meet with the investigating team in respect of the matter, nor did I have access to the docket prior to the initial decision being taken. That decision, of course, initial decision was taken by the prosecuting team. They made a recommendation to the acting special director and head of the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, who subsequently perused the matter together with the DPP of Pretoria, and in consultation, as is required by Section 24, Subsection 3 of the NPA Act. They made a decision, that the prosecution must proceed. I was briefed in respect of the matter. Of course, during the briefing, I was briefed on the issue of public interest as well. So there was due regard given to public interest, the economic situation in the country. Ultimately, they decided that the interest of the administration of justice outweighs the public interest in respect of the matter, and that the betterment of the rule of law, must be upheld, and that's why they proceeded with the prosecution in respect of the matter.
Were you satisfied with the strength of the case? Did you feel that it was a solid, winnable case, and you were aware of the facts of the case beforehand?
In respect of the briefing, when the briefing was made to me, I was satisfied that there was a winnable case on paper. I was satisfied there was a strong case, and I felt, and this is an important matter, and there's much public interest in the matter. There's been much speculation in the media. The media has really hyped this matter up. There's been many comments in the media, many allegations being made in the media in respect of the matter, both domestically and internationally. And I felt, as head of the institution, it would be proper for me to take the country, the citizenry of this country, into my confidence and explain to them the circumstances that led to the charges being preferred against Mr. Makashula, Mr. Pillay, and Minister Gordhan. Similarly, I felt yesterday when I made the press briefing, I again felt that it was necessary for me as head of the institution to take the citizenry of this country into confidence and take them through the facts of the matter. Firstly, I took them through the facts of the matter that was prevalent at the time when the prosecutors had decided that a prosecution should be instituted. I explained my powers as the national director, the powers of review, and then the facts that I had to take into consideration, in addition to the facts that the initial prosecutors had taken into consideration, and why I came to the decision that I did. I don't regret making the announcement yesterday. I think it was necessary, and I wanted to be transparent, and I will remain to be transparent. That's precisely why I've given you this interview today.
Before we get there, this case was investigated by the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit. You were the acting head of the PCLU. You prosecuted the Henry O'Carr case, for example. Why did a case of fraud on this scale, why did it go to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit? And according to the Act, the only way it could have got there was if you personally, as the NDPP, had referred the case to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, which means you must have known what the facts were. Why did it go there, and did you personally refer it there?
I think there's a misconception, in the public, that the NPA has investigative powers. The National Prosecuting Authority does not have any investigating powers. We're reliant on the Hawks, the police and other stakeholders to conduct investigations. So to say that the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit investigated the matter is with respect, somewhat incorrect.
They handled
yes, they gave direction, of course assisted the police, and by giving guidance to the police and issuing directives to the police insofar as the furtherance of the investigation is concerned. So you're quite correct insofar as that's concerned on that score. Firstly, the National Director is empowered to refer matters, to any prosecutor.
Yeah.
Now, I had crafted a list of matters that I had referred to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit. The mandate of the unit allows the unit, firstly, the mandate of the unit is to manage investigations and prosecutions of crimes that impact on the security of the country, domestically and internationally. These include a number of crimes. When Corky Mshe, SC, was the acting national director, he referred a list of further crime types to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit. I also referred a number of further crimes to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit. I think my predecessor, Kolisi Nkasana, had specifically referred foreign bribery matters. He took them out of the jurisdiction of all DPPs and referred them to a member of the PCLU. And foreign bribery matters, corruption, fraud, financial irregularities. Now, this particular matter, including a number of other matters. Now, I referred the rogue unit investigation because it impacts on the security of the country. And if you've listened to my first media briefing, as well as I didn't deal with it yesterday, but in my first media briefing, I did touch on spoke about the rogue unit. It impacts on the security of the country, and it's for that reason that I referred it to the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit. Of course, the issue around the fraud and public contravention of the PFMA Act, that was one of the legs of the investigation. That's part of the broader rogue unit investigations. So when that investigation had been concluded, of course they made a decision in respect of the matter. So there's nothing sinister as to why I referred the matter to the PCLU. I referred it because it impacts on the security of the country. There are a number of other matters that I referred to the PCLU that of course does not impact on the security of the country, but I felt that the relevant expertise is there to deal with the matter, with those particular matters. When I was at the PCLU, and prior to me to heading the PCLU, previous national directors referred many matters, to the PCLU, and some of those matters I personally prosecuted. Some of them included fraud matters. So there's really nothing sinister in referring the matter to the PCLU.
Do you not think it would have been better to have waited for the entire rogue unit investigation and this leg to have been finalised? Because the timing of the prosecution of Pravin Gordhan has looked questionable in the context of state capture and all of the allegations against the Gupta family and the president. The timing certainly looked suspect.
The investigation in that leg of the investigation had been concluded. The Hawks had conducted the investigation, and the Hawks asked us to make a decision in respect of that leg of the investigation. And the prosecutors made a decision, and of course, the issue of timing. When is the right time? to make a decision in respect of a matter to prosecute. You'd be very mindful, Mandy, the issue in the spy tapes matter relating to the allegations against Leonard McCarthy and Bulelani Ngcuka are very much prevalent on the timing for political advancement. I was never prepared to take that risk, and I will never be prepared to take that risk.
Why did you go to Luthuli House the night before you charged Pravin Gordhan? The argument is that it was for a meeting about higher education. The Minister of Higher Education was not present, the police were not present. There are a lot of red flags and question marks around that explanation. Is it right to go to a political party? Is it right to meet with the president, who some would argue is an accused? Can you explain that meeting to us?
Yes, I'm glad you've asked this question. Both the President and the Minister of Justice have spoken about this particular matter publicly. I think the President has also spoken in Parliament about the matter and the circumstances around the matter. My office has publicly also commented in respect of the matter. And maybe just to give clarity around how it came about that I ended up at Luthuli House for this meeting. I was an hour away from a dentist appointment, and the Minister of Justice phones me. A dentist appointment that I'd been waiting for a number of weeks. And the Minister of Justice phoned me and said, there's an urgent JCPS Minister Clusters meeting with the President. And the President was leaving the country later the evening. And he could only have the meeting with the ministers now. Now, the Minister of Higher Education is not a member, of the Justice and Security Cluster. So he was not there. Of course, the Minister made it clear that the meeting was around, the issues of, the anarchy, at the institutions of higher learning. And I was better placed than him to articulate the issues from the NPA's perspective, and could I please attend the meeting? Otherwise, his presence at the meeting, would really be nullified. He couldn't really make much contribution, and he needed me present at the meeting. I agreed, and then he said to me, well, the meeting's at Luthuli House. I'd never been to Luthuli House before. I attended the meeting. The Minister of State Security was serving as the acting Minister of Police. So he was present in this meeting in a dual capacity as both the Minister of State Security and the Minister and the Minister of Police. The Minister of Social Development was serving as the acting Minister of Defence, if memory serves me correct, the Minister of Justice, and of course myself. At that very moment, the Acting National Commissioner of Police was giving a press briefing elsewhere. Buses were burning. Shops were being looted. The country was in a state of anarchy. Streets were being blocked off. Why should I not attend an emergency meeting relating to the security cluster to give effect to the rule of law? The National Director is a person that should be able to meet with anyone and act objectively and independently. I've acted objectively and independently, and I will continue to act objectively and independently. There was nothing sinister about the meeting. The meeting was only about the issues around the security.
Can you give us an assurance that you did not discuss the issue of charging Pravin Gordhan with the President at that meeting?
I did not. I give you the assurance that I did not discuss the issue with the President. Nobody discussed this issue with the President at that meeting. At the conclusion of the meeting, we all left the meeting.
Before you made the announcement to charge the Finance Minister, who did you consult with? Did you seek outside counsel?
I did not seek outside counsel before I made the initial announcement. I did discuss it with some of the senior leadership of the institution. I had to discuss it. I also made mention to it of to the Minister of Justice that I intend announcing it, and the minister, felt that it's appropriate because it's a public interest matter to, of course, take the public into confidence, in respect of the matter.
And then you chose to hold the big press conference. Some would call it a Hollywood-style press conference. Why did you choose to do it in that manner?
It was never the intention to hold a Hollywood-style press conference. We certainly didn't want to create that perception. It was a matter of taking the country into confidence and explaining to the nation, what the decision of the prosecutors were that made this decision. It was all about taking the country into confidence. There was nothing else intended thereby, and certainly there was no intention to violate anybody's rights or to offend or to be offensive to anybody. Of course, in hindsight, we can always relook at things and relook at the way we do things and always try and do things better and look at the way we engage with the media, the way we engage with the public. So we can always do things better. So we certainly didn't want to come across as wanting to hog the media limelight or to be offensive to anybody. The intention was
because what you did essentially was illegal. You named a suspect before he appeared in court. I mean, do you acknowledge that?
Well, I don't think it was illegal.
Do you regret the way that you did it?
We can always do things differently. We can always do things differently.
Look, obviously this was the biggest announcement that you've made in your capacity as NDPP. There's been criticism that you weren't fully aware of the facts before making such a large-scale announcement. But do you feel that you had a handle on what was going on when you took to the podium?
Are you talking about the first one or the second?
The first one.
I was briefed in respect of the matter, and of course, when you're briefed, you largely place reliance on the people that made the initial decision, I think it would be wrong to say that I did not have a handle of things. Otherwise, I certainly would not have made the press briefing.
Were you acting under any kind of political pressure? Were you doing the bidding of the president? Were you part of any kind of politics or any kind of SARS wars or game fair when you took the decision to charge the Minister of Finance?
Never at any stage, and never will I be. There's this complete narrative out there, as articulated by you, that is in fact what has happened here. I can assure the public out there and yourself that that's certainly not the case. If that was the case, why would I withdraw the charges yesterday? I applied my mind to the matter, and after applying my mind to the matter, of course, we must look at the history in the sense that a decision was made to prosecute. I was then approached to review the decision in terms of Section 179, subsection 5 of the Constitution. I reviewed the matter, I accepted the representations, I interrogated the representations, along with the facts of the matter that were already at hand. I directed further investigations in respect of the matter as a result of the representations that had been received. And after applying my mind and looking at the relevant legislation, I came to the conclusion which I did yesterday. And I don't regret coming to the decision that I did. I don't regret making the announcement I did yesterday. Again, I did it by taking the country into my confidence. I also wanted to again show transparency and show the independence of the NPA and my own independence in making decisions. And I hope that has come through. From media reports, it appears that has not shone through at all.
Certainly not.
Yeah. No. But I can assure you I've never been part of any political campaign. I'm not interested in the politics that's currently taking place out in the country. We find ourselves in a massive political quagmire, and many are trying to pull the NPA into this, and I'm trying to do my level best to pull the NPA out of it.
Look, the argument is that either one, you are politically captured, or that you are incompetent. Is it either one of those, or is it an alternative?
Firstly, I'm not politically captured. I'm not captured by anyone. As far as competency is concerned, my career speaks for itself. It's there's nobody out there that can call me incompetent. My career speaks for itself. I would not have the long list of successes, had I been incompetent. Certainly, nobody that's incompetent can achieve what I've achieved in my career.
So let's speak about the decision to withdraw and this issue of the Symington affidavit. Now, the Symington affidavit was part of Ivan Pilley's Labour Court application in 2014. I'm told it was also given to you in September by Ivan Pilley's legal counsel, by Robert Levine. And yet, you say it only came to light recently, and that was what contributed to the decision to withdraw. How did the investigators not find it? Surely they should have been able to find it if it was a legal document, a public legal document.
I cannot comment on whether Robert Levine gave it to me, but I saw this document for the first time when submissions were made by Freedom Under Law and the Helen Suzman Foundation. They attached it to their papers where they requested me to withdraw the charges against Minister Gordhan unconditionally. That is the very first time where I saw the Symington memorandum. The second time that I saw the Symington memorandum was when Ivan Pilley's counsel and legal team had handed it to me during their making of representations to me, during their submissions to me.
And this was
the 17th. I think it was the 17th or the 18th of October.
And did you realize after seeing that affidavit that there was a problem with the case?
Well, of course, I wanted to know. Why is this document only being presented to me now? Why did the investigating team or the prosecutors did not have recourse to this document? It would only be normal for me to ask that. I couldn't turn a blind eye to it.
Did your heart drop?
I wouldn't say that my heart dropped. I deemed it absolutely prudent to interrogate the issue, and that's why I directed further investigation.
As a result of that further investigation, there was this now quite publicised incident with Symington in the so-called hostage drama. Was that your intention to create that set of circumstances? When you heard about the fact that he was held hostage and had to call 10111 because the investigators were trying to get this affidavit, did you condone that? What were your thoughts about it?
I would never condone such conduct. Of course, I was appalled, by that conduct, and we'd never condone that to anybody. We must always give effect to and due regard to the rule of law and do things properly. It was very disturbing. Of course, that matter is currently under investigation, and I can't be seen to be commenting on it because that matter may ultimately end up with the NPA for the NPA to make a decision, and you never know. Somebody may ask me to review the decision to either prosecute or not to prosecute in respect of that matter. But I can certainly assure you that I would never condone such conduct as depicted on the video clip.
You invited representations on this matter. I've heard from a number of people in legal circles that you initiated this process, that you reached out to Nazir Kasim, who you knew very well was not the legal counsel for Ivan Pilley, who's represented by Robert Levine and Lawrence Hodis, yet representations were made by Nazir Kasim, and that you also reached out to Opa Magashula because you were trying to find a way out. Is that the case? Did you initiate the process, or did they come to you?
I'm very pleased you asked this question. I did not reach out to anyone in respect of this matter. You'd recall at my first press briefing in respect of this matter, I announced what my powers are, my powers of review. And because I announced my powers of review, anybody has the right to approach me to review a matter where they're unhappy with the decision that has been made, either to prosecute or to decline to prosecute in the event they have locus standi in respect of the matter that's standing. I did not reach out to Mr. Kasim or to Mr. Magashula. You can approach both of them, and both of them will confirm to you that at no stage did I reach out to them. It's within their rights to approach me and to ask me to review a matter. The issue between Mr. Magashula and his lawyers, Mr. Pillay and his lawyers, that's a question you must pose to them. I was minding my own business as the head of this institution, and I was approached, and I applied the law. After I had been approached, it's not for me to question, who the legal representatives are. Mr. Kasim is a very senior counsel, respected counsel in this country, and he'd be deeply disturbed at any allegations that he acted to the contrary, and I am deeply disturbed at allegations that I had approached anybody in respect of this matter. I didn't approach anybody, and that's the final point on it.
Your decision to drop the charges, how much did public interest and the huge public outcry have on that decision?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I was very mindful of the public interest. I was very mindful of, the way the media, or the narrative that the media is put out, print, electronic, radio, television. I don't think any senior government official or any senior leader of an institution or senior politician has ever been subjected to such an attack, in public. I was very mindful of it. I have a duty. I've taken an oath of office. I must adhere to the oath of office that I have taken. I'm an officer of the court. I must apply my mind to the facts and the law. Of course, when we consider matters, we do consider a number of other factors. It would be wrong for me to say that if I look at any given matter, that I do not look at public interest. I do look at public interest, but in this particular instance, the public interest did not weigh much on my mind in respect of making the decision to decline to prosecute. I was satisfied on the merits alone after applying my mind to the matter that the relevant persons lacked the requisite animus at the end of the day.
How difficult was that press conference for you yesterday, in light of how vociferous you were at the first press conference about the decisions of the NPA, those days of the decisions of the NPA being questioned are over? You didn't want to say yesterday whether you were embarrassed or not. Do you want to speak about that today?
I've always said that I will always do what is right. It does not matter whether it is the lowest of citizens in this country or whether it is the first citizen in this country. And when I decided this matter, and I came to the conclusion that I have to withdraw the charges, I felt it's something that I had to do. I don't think it was difficult. It certainly was not difficult for me to do, because doing the right thing should never be difficult. It should really be easy. I think right now it's important for me and for the community and the public at large, to uphold the integrity of the institution. It was important for me to take the public into confidence and speak to them about the matter. So it wasn't difficult. Doing the right thing is never difficult.
As much as you wanted to do the right thing, I think that in in some sense, it may have backfired in that you've become public enemy number one. And if you go onto social media, even though you're not on Twitter, there are memes mocking you, mocking your appearance, mocking your decisions, really treating it as a joke. How do you feel about that, and how do you feel it affects your credibility?
Well, I think, I'm not on social media, so I'm completely unaware, of this. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. It tells you, where we've come to as a nation, where we've come to as a people, when people resolve to and or resort to taking things, to such a personal level. I don't really want to comment on it.
Do you feel that your decision has affected the credibility of the NPA?
My decision to withdraw the charges should in effect enhance the credibility of the institution. It would show to the public at large that everybody will be treated fairly, even though there's a massive, political narrative out there associated with the matter. I hope that my decision to withdraw the charges in respect of this matter clearly demonstrated my independence as the leader of this institution. I will not be caught up in any political battles under any circumstances. I will always do what is right. It does not matter who it is.
It certainly looked yesterday, and even though this may not have been your intention, you gave the appearance that you were, some were saying, playing the victim, that you threw Tory Pretorius, who was your mentor, under the bus, that it looked as though you were second-guessing his decision and that you were saving the day. Did you throw Tory Pretorius under the bus?
I would never throw Tory Pretorius under the bus. Tory Pretorius is a gentleman in all respects. He has a brilliant legal mind. And yes, he was my mentor for many years. I met him for the first time back in 2004. I've worked with him in close proximity. He's appeared as, quite strange, he's appeared as my junior in a number of matters, and I've appeared as his junior in a number of matters, over the years. I've always found it an extreme pleasure to work with him, and what he brings to a team and to a prosecution. I have all the confidence in Dr. Tory Pretorius, and I would never throw him under the bus under any circumstances. What the public aren't aware of is, since my appointment in June 2015, I've agreed with the decisions of directors of public prosecutions in matters that I have reviewed in 94 matters. If that memory serves me correct, I agreed with the decisions of directors of public prosecutions, and in about, I think, between 14 or 16 or 17 of matters, I've actually disagreed with them, where I've changed the decisions, I've overruled the decisions to either prosecute or decline to prosecute. So this is not a unique matter, it's not an isolated matter. And I certainly did not want to give the intention that I'm throwing Tory Pretorius under the bus. That would mean, if I overrule the decisions of other directors of public prosecutions or special directors, that I'm throwing them under the bus. That certainly should not be the case. Dr. Tory Pretorius remains a brilliant legal mind, and I respect him.
You would acknowledge that the finance minister's reputation in any country is important, right? You need your finance minister to be credible for markets to have confidence. Do you feel that you in some way impugn the reputation of the finance minister? Did you damage his reputation by going through this process the way you did?
It certainly was not the intention, to damage the reputation or character of Minister Pravin Gordhan, nor any of the other two persons, namely Mr. Makashula or Mr. Pillay, in respect of this matter. When we make decisions, when the institution makes decisions, it does so to give due effect to the rule of law and the proper administration of justice and the interests of the administration of justice. The NPA certainly does not make decisions to impugn the characters, or the integrity of any persons.
You didn't feel it necessary to apologize yesterday. Do you feel it necessary to apologize now?
I have no personal vendettas against any person. I have no ill feelings towards any person.
And are you mindful of the effect that your decisions have on the currency and what it costs the country, both the decision to prosecute and to withdraw the prosecution?
Well, of course, the initial decision wasn't mine. The decision to decline to prosecute was mine, and of course, we are mindful. We are mindful of that. Yes.
Do you regret the way that this played out, and do you regret that initial decision that you took to prosecute the Finance Minister Magashule and Pillay?
We always strive to do things better, and the initial decision to prosecute was made on the facts that I presented yesterday in the first part of my of my briefing, and based on that there was merits in respect of the matter, and when I declined to prosecute the matter, there was merits in my decision to decline to prosecute the matter.
Many commentators have said that you have to go. The only way to regain credibility for the institution is for you to fall on your sword or to make a decision such as prosecuting President Jacob Zuma. Firstly, will you fall on your sword? Will you go?
I think, firstly, I certainly will not resign. If the President, the Minister of Justice recommends to the President that he must suspend me or conduct an inquiry into my fitness to hold office, or the President says to me that I have no longer have confidence in you to lead this institution, then of course that's something that I'll have to consider. But I certainly will not resign. Will I prosecute the President? You must be very mindful that the matter related to the President is currently pending in the Supreme Court of Appeal. The chances of the matter ending up in the Constitutional Court in finality is very good. As of date, there's been no need for me to consider the merits of the matter because of the legal processes that have taken place, that are currently in process. If a matter is placed before me and there's a prima facie case against any individual and the interests of justice dictate that that person must be prosecuted, whether it's the first citizen or whether it's the President, whether it's a cabinet minister, it doesn't really matter who it is. I will certainly institute a prosecution. Now, in the President's matter, I can only consider that once the legal processes that are currently unfolding have been concluded and exhausted. And if the matter is reverted back to me to make a decision, I'm happy to make a decision in respect of this matter. I've never shied away from responsibilities throughout my entire career.
Are you saying that you would charge a sitting President?
I would charge a sitting President. If there's a case against a sitting President and a sitting President has a case to answer, then a sitting President must be prosecuted.
Even if it is Jacob Zuma?
It doesn't matter who it is.
Do you think that somebody should be held accountable for this debacle that has played out over the past few weeks? You said yesterday that you're going to look into where the head should roll. Surely you should not only act, you should be seen to be acting.
Well, it's less than 24 hours, since my media briefing yesterday, and of course we will look into the matter. The issue here is, of course, the issue around the additional evidence that I had to ask for, which ultimately formed, my decision in respect of the matter. And, it is important for me to understand, why that wasn't brought to the attention of the prosecutors before they made a decision. and why that was only brought to my attention when I was reviewing the matter, and that is a concern to me.
The EFF has written to the General Counsel of the Bar asking that you be disbarred. Dr. Matthews Posa has also gone to the courts asking that you be struck. Will you fight these applications or these bids, and do you believe that you are fit and proper?
I'm more than fit and proper to hold this position. I'm more than fit and proper, to be a member of the advocate's profession. The EF, of course, the NPA has decided to prosecute the leader of the EFF, and I think we must look at it in that light. It's coming from politicians. Mr. Poswa had contacted me a few weeks ago. I find it strange that he's now approached the Bar Council to lay charges against me or to investigate me. But I come from the school of thought that nobody is above the law in any circumstances, and if there's an investigation that must be conducted and there's merits in an investigation, then that investigation must see its ultimate conclusion, even if that relates to me.
How would you gauge morale at the NPA and the public credibility in the institution now?
I have engaged a few people who's assured me the morale of the institution remains positive, remains high, and the support to the leadership of the institution, which pleases me. We've always wanted the work of the institution to speak for itself, and I'm very confident going forward that the achievements of over the last many months since my appointment, as well as the work going forward, will show the resolve of the institution, the integrity of the institution, the independence of the institution, and I'd want to be judged on that.
NDPP, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mandy. It was a pleasure.